Good morning, Flosstube. It's Lori of MischievousStitches. I want to welcome all of you to my channel this week. I'm very glad that you're here. Today in South Carolina, it's very rainy and dreary, and I can hear the rain on the roof, and maybe you can too. We're expecting storms on and off throughout the day, but for me, that's perfect stitching weather. I can sit up here in my stitch room, binge watch Netflix, and just stitch away to my heart's content. I will be joining in with Jen Lee and her mom for 24 hours of cross stitch. I did stay up till about 1:30 last night, and I'll share with you in a minute what I was working on. But I just wanted to support my friends from Flosstube, Jen Lee, like I said, and her mother, as they do 24 hours of cross stitch. I enjoy it. I love seeing the pictures everyone posts within the Facebook group, and again on Instagram, hashtag 24 HOCS for Hours of Cross Stitch if you want to check in and join in the fun. Jen Lee hosts this ever so often throughout the year. She always announces it on her Flosstube. You can also see Instagram a lot. Those that are joining in will also use the hashtag and post as well. And if you're not already doing so, just join in. Like I said, she has a Facebook as well, and I'll list both Jen's Flosstube and her Facebook group down below for those of you that maybe would like to join in this weekend or in another weekend to come throughout the year. So this week I've continued to work on my current focus pieces. I'm getting I got a good bit done this week. I'm very excited about that. I had planned to do some finishes on a couple of things. I shared a couple of videos back for April. I've been trying throughout the year to finish a couple of pieces that were prior finishes for me, but fully finish them. And I'm going to share those with you. I did plan on finishing them last night. That was my plan when I got off work on Friday, to come home to do the finishing so that I could film them for my video. But we're getting a puppy. I posted that on Instagram last night because it has consumed me the past couple of days, awaiting the arrival of that puppy. So I did not get any finishing done. I did, once I settled down, I did get a little bit of stitching done, which I will share with you. But we're getting a little beagle pup. He's 9 weeks old. His name is Jones, but we're going to call him Jonesy. And Jones is a surname in my family, so it's kind of it's sweet. We originally had planned on naming him Hank, and now we're going with Jonesy. I think it suits him perfect. Last night I did get online and Googled what Jonesy means, and it means God is gracious. So it is an English name, and it suits him perfectly. So I can't wait for his arrival. I think he should be here Monday. And so hopefully on my next Flosstube next week, I will share Jonesy with all his aunts and uncles and grandmoms and granddads out there in Flosstube world, because you guys have all been so supportive on Instagram. Puppies just immediately, they cause a positive love-filled response from everyone. And so when I posted his picture on Instagram yesterday, the outpouring of love was immeasurable. So thank you all for your support and being excited for me and with me, and I can't wait to introduce him to you all next weekend. So with that being said, I did get a lot done this week. I was very proud of myself. I reached my goals. I started off the week, as I do each Sunday now, working on Christ in Gethsemane, and I'm going to share him with you. This is one of my oldest whips. I had lost the pattern, and in searching for something at the end of last year to participate in a stitch along, I found the pattern, and it was not in the project pouch with the piece. So I was very excited to find it. I had already put up the threads, but it's pretty confetti heavy, so even though the threads had already been stored away, I don't think there's going to be a problem with dye lot issues. And what I mean by that, if you've ever stitched a piece and you've ran out of the thread, it's more of a monochromatic piece, or there's huge chunks of one color in an area and then you run out of the thread, you go back and buy more, and the dye lots aren't always the same. They're similar, but the contrast is definitely there. It's happened to me, and it shouldn't be a problem in this one because there's not, as you can see, huge chunks of one color. So it's pretty confetti heavy. I did work more in his robe this week, and let me pull him out for you to see. And he is my biggest piece, or maybe my biggest piece of fabric. But here's Christ in Gethsemane. And as I said, I worked more in his robe, which is down in here. I got a good bit done. It's mostly purples, different shades of purple. And that darkest part, you would think would be a dark purple, and it's not. It's actually DMC 838, which is a dark brown. Now this piece has both half stitches, quarter stitches, 3/4 stitches, full stitches, stitches with 1 thread, stitches with 2 threads, stitches with blends of 3 threads. I really have to pay attention to the color key on this one, but he is absolutely stunning. And a lot of you are telling me that you're ready to see his eyes. So I'm not promising you'll see him next weekend, but I'm working my way up to his face. And there is a lot of over 1 stitching. There's a chart, a portion of the chart that is just for Christ's face. So I want to be, because it's confetti heavy, I want to ensure that my stitching is precise. The threads aren't puckered, that kind of thing. I want his face to draw me in, to give me reason to pause. So I want to take an extra time with his face. So just bear with me. We'll get him there. But thanks for all the support everyone's shown when I posted him this week. He is stitched, like I said, with different thread, blends of thread, different plies of thread, and it is on an overdyed linen. Unfortunately, I do not know the linen name. I bought it some time ago at our local shop that is now closed. So there's that. And then the next thing I picked up this week was my blue ribbon design piece, which is Alphabet Zoo. Thanks to all of you that are still continuing to stitch along with me and my friend Mary as we host this stitch along for Blue Ribbon Designs. It is it's BRB Tax Day Sal is the hashtag, and we started this, of course, on Tax Day here in the U.S. on April 15th, and like I said, several of you have joined in, and I want to thank you for doing that. If you didn't join in and still want to, please do. We welcome all of you to do that. You're just going to post your pictures on Instagram and hashtag them with, again, BRD Tax Day Sal. And here's the pattern cover here. I did change the color to 3360. Is it 62 or 63? I'll look it up in a minute. I think it's 3363. It is a green that I chose, and I'm loving it. So my goal was to get 1 more block done this week, and I got that goal accomplished. So let me share it with you now. And I'm putting these to the side as I go because I've got a stack here. And here we go. I did, in fact, drop down to E. I wasn't sure if I was going to do B, but I dropped down to E. And so I had, there's an eagle, and a mother, and a baby elephant. And the letters are, the uppercase letters are done in Smyrna crosses. And so I've got a lot more to go. So I believe this pattern is, it is 4 across and 5 squares down. And I'm using 1 strand of thread over 2 linen threads. This is a piece of 40 count platinum linen. And platinum's one of my go-to. I just love the color. This is, the color in the picture here is a little bit off, but it's close enough. But it's just one of my go-tos for 40. I can see the holes. I don't know if you should be able to see them there, but I can see the holes really well. I don't struggle. It does have slubs and bumps, as any linen does, but they're not, they're relatively small. They're more like, the linen threads themselves, some are thicker than others, and that is more of what I run into than I do with slubs. Now, if you don't want to know what a slub is, let me see if I can see one. Okay, here's one here. Can you see that? It's just, I would say a clump of linen fibers from when they created the that linen together, the threads together. So it's just a big bump of linen fibers. And I would counsel you, and I speak from wisdom of having done this, don't try to remove those threads. Sometimes they will come out when you put the needle through them. And if they do, that's wonderful. If they don't, stitch through them. And I say that because there has been a time on a sampler that I tried to pick them with my needle until I got them out and created a hole. Don't do that. You're not going to be happy with yourself. So, little words of wisdom. And then a couple of days on my lunch break this week, I picked up In My Father's House by Blue Ribbon Design. I have my pattern here. Where is my pattern cover? I don't see my pattern cover, but here it is. I'm stitching along on this one with MelyEllyStitches here on Flosstube and my friend Rhonda from Stitching by the Pond on Instagram. What I did get through was that left side and the start of the second row from the left, the window, not the window painting, but the window casing. So that will go all the way across the house. And if you've not seen an update picture on this, Rhonda has smoking hot needles. She has gotten her house complete and is working on the grass. She's made a lot of headway. So if you want to see a more complete, closer to completion picture, go check out Rhonda on Instagram, and she will be listed below as well. So that's what I got done on this piece this week. And then I picked up the piece that, another focus piece, and this is Brenda Keys of the Sampler Company, and this is a sampler story. And I'm officially at the halfway mark. So not only did I finished home last week. Let me fold this around. Last week I finished home, and this week, well, I can hold that okay. I finished the mermaid down there, and there's a compass rose there, and it says Sea Siren. Now she doesn't have a face, but she has that red hair, so I'd like to imagine her as Ariel from Little Mermaid. And she's sitting on a rock out in the sea, and you can see the waves there. And this is just a piece of antique white linen, 25 count, and I'm stitching this one strand of DMC, which are the call for DMC threads, one strand of DMC over one linen thread. So it's 1/1 stitching on 25 count. And I'm loving this. I don't know if those of you that's been with me a while remembers my By the Bay, 13th Colony Bay. That one was stitched on a Lugana, but it was 25 count Lugana, was stitched the same way, one strand of DMC over one linen thread. I really like the look of this. And I look forward to starting the next half, the second half, the final half this week. And I'm not sure which one of those squares there that's open. I did work over into the squares. I'd like to get all of those squares outlined. So there should be 12 more squares. So I have 12 done, 12 complete, 12 more left, total of 24, and I have 4 more of them outlined. So I would like to get them all outlined, or at least half of those outlined this week. So that'll be my goal. I'm going to work on not only doing a square, but also work on some of the outlines of the remaining squares. And then this one I have worked on every night. I have been putting in one thread before bed. And one red thread before bed on MischievousStitches Redwork sampler. Because right now I have 5 pieces in my little rotation, and that's a little much for a weekly rotation. So not only that, Redwork sampler is the newest of the ones, meaning it's the most recently released one that I have going. And because it's monochromatic, I can get a lot more done with one strand of thread loaded into my needle than any of the others. So here's the piece. And as I said, I've been putting in one strand of red before bed every night. let me share with you where I'm at. So last time I shared this piece, I had completed these 2 rows, the top row and the first 2 rows of alphabet. So my goal this week was to finish the 3rd row, and I got that completed. I also dropped down and started the next row of alphabet, which is a larger alphabet, and I put in a good bit of this row here. So this coming week, my goal will be to put in a few more letters in this row, maybe to drop down by 1, and to finish this. Looks like a berry vine, and I want to be able to finish that this week. So with 1 strand of red before bed, I should be able to do that. Hashtag 1 strand before, or let's see, let's think. 1 strand of red before bed. That's going to be my hashtag for that one. Okay, and now we're going to work, I'm going to share with you my finishes, previous finishes, and one that I forgot to show last week. So if you remember, a few weeks ago, I shared my finish on this. This is Under My Wing. This is the robin, and this is by Brenda of Blue Ribbon Designs. And she did a very good tutorial on how to finish these pin keeps in a zinc ball canning jar lid. I thrifted 2 of these lids from a local shop, and this is my finish on the robin. The bird has a thread in its beak, and there's my initial for Lori. And in the pattern, she calls for the needle to be under the wing, which is the name of the pattern. And I actually put it into the spool. Well, I finished the next one, and this is the bluebird. And with this one, I changed it just a boop. Well, I didn't anticipate that happening. My glue didn't hold. Okay, so I'm going to hold it in there with my fingertips. I added a charm, and I finished it into this pin pillow. Someone asked about this trim, if that was fuzzy trim. This is actually Victorian Mojo Designs chenille trim. I got it years ago. I don't know if she... I'm glad I can catch. So this is a chenille trim. And all I did was tack it down. I used a coordinating DMC thread, loaded my needle, and after finishing the pin pillow onto a piece of mat board, cut to shape, I then tacked that chenille trim down around the edges. I did leave the thread out. There's also to be a length of thread in this bird's beak, but I left it out this time. I did put the needle that I stitched it with into that spool as well, and of course put my initial again. I also changed the color. The color to the outline, the circle, is a different shade than what was called for. I did not have that color thread. I just used 1 thread lighter than it called for in the DMC Spectrum. And it is a little too light, to be honest, but I still love it. I love it. So it's a contrast to the brightness of this one. But they're both beautiful designs. And now while I'm downstairs finishing my other things, I'm going to have to glue this in. I don't like using glue. Sometimes glue is required. It's not my all favorite thing, and so I was very liberal. As you can see with the glue, there's 1 piece there. Very liberal with the glue, and so that's the reason it's come out. So I need to add a little bit more. So since I'm going to try some finishing a little later today, I should be able to finish that right back up. So let me share with you what I have this week. So I've shared this a couple of weekends ago, but this is Dragonfly by Elizabeth Designs. I stitched this several years ago, and I want to finish this up, and I don't want to buy fabric. I want to use what I have on hand. So I pulled these colors out. The colors are not 100% matchy to the piece. And so here's the piece, And here was the green. My nose, the past 2 videos is itchy. Okay. So this is the green. As you can see, it's not a, this is more green and this is more, it's a lighter green. It's more of a pastel green. But I had purchased that fabric to match this fabric and to do a project bag. And I also pulled out this white, or it's not a white, it's more of an ecru. And I'm planning on doing a scissors pillow with this today. I've never done a scissors pillow today. And like I said, this year has been about finishing prior finishes this year. It's about learning new techniques. It's about building my confidence with finishing. And I have done, and I'm still in the process of doing all those things. But I'm going to make a pin pillow using these today. And I may go ahead while I have it out and go ahead and make another project bag with what remains of them. So this will be the fabric definitely on the back. And I'm not sure about this will be the pouch on the front. And I may line the top of it with this. This will be behind it. And then this will be the back of the pillow. So I can't wait to share that with you. I should have it finished before my next video. And then I had one other that I shared with you all, and this is Lizzie Kate, Life's a Stitch, and I'm not sure yet how I'm going to finish this. Many of you have given me suggestions, ideas on this one, but this is the fabric that I chose. I love this fabric. I've had it for a while. And I will use this fabric to finish this up. Now, I may make a pin pillow. I may make a decorator pillow. I don't have a dough bowl. I saw an Instagram post. Instagram is a playground for those of us who stitch or cook, and if you're not on Instagram, it's a playground. So anyway, there's a suggestion on there of how to make your own tiered tray. So I'm thinking next time I go thrifting, I'm going to pick up the things needed to make a 3-tiered tray, and then I can display things like this on it. But there's this, and once again, let me share the fabric, and we'll see next weekend what I end up doing with it. And the last thing I'm going to do, I'm actually going to finish 3 previous finishes this week, and this is Valentine Row by Bent Creek. And I pulled this out when I was storing my finished pieces in my new storage container that I shared last video. Helen D, Flosstuber here on Instagram, on Flosstube. She's another Flosstuber. Her name's Helen D. That's her channel name. She finished one of her rows, not this specific row, but one of her rows up as a drum. So I have now watched Vanna's drum tutorial 2 times, Vanna the Twisted Stitcher. I will link that below, and my plan today is finish this into a drum, and I'm going to use this fabric as the top. So there'll be a pin, so you can kind of see the colors, the greens, there's greens in there. And the color is actually very similar to this one, even though the light's showing differently. So there's that. And I do want to put some little fun things of whimsy on top of it other than just pins. We'll see what I come up with that. And then as I'm digging through my fabric, like I said, I didn't want to go buy fabric just to finish up those small things. I wanted to use things that I already had in here in my stitch room. Waste not, want not. I have a lot here. I am blessed that I have a lot of haul, fabric, supplies to craft, those kind of things. I need to use those instead of buying new things. But I ran across this fabric, and when I saw it, I remembered it, and I wanted to do bags for it and just have it on hand. And these were from Joann's, but they're patriotic fabrics, and they're cross-stitch patterned. So today I'm hoping to make not only a bag out of this, but a bag out of the ones that I'm going to have left over from making the scissors pillow. So there are those. And so I'm already, I don't know about the rest of you, that, but I'm already gearing up for patriotic stitching. My giggles, my close stitch friends we're already talking about it. We were thinking about it and swapping pattern ideas off this week, and I'm looking forward to it. And I did purchase one thing this week. My friend Mary is brought up several times this week about Brenda and Laura's Blackbird design stitch along that they're starting on the 1st of May. I hope I'm getting that information right. I've not watched their newest video, so if I get it wrong, I apologize. But Mary mentioned it and wants us all to join in. And I got this book. Now, this is one of Blackbird Design's quilt books, but I found this copy, and it has a spring Blackbird design inside. And so I picked this up. It also has another cross stitch piece, and I think it is a pin keep or pin. Hold on just a second. I'm sorry. I should have had it marked. I apologize. Here it is here. Now this is finished around, the piece itself is finished with, there it is, a closer picture of it. It's finished with the stringed pearls around the edge, which is not something I've seen before, and I like that idea. And then stuck with the pearl topped pins. That would be a quick, easy piece and could easily be used as a Christmas, because it's green and red and white and with the pearls, and that kind of looks like snowflakes. So I have this, but I think I have a Blackbird design on the go. I have been finishing whips this year. Now, whips, for those of you that may not know, are works in progress. Those are things that have been started, that are kitted up, started, but not completed in my stash. So they're works in progress. I do believe I have a Blackbird in with my works in progress. So I will check today, and if I do, I will pull that out and give that some love next Saturday and show support to Brenda and Laura as they host the stitch along. If not, I want to join in and give my friend Mary some support. I want to make sure that I'm starting along with her. So here's that. If you're interested in getting that one, once again, there's the pattern that's inside. I didn't give you the name of it either. I don't know if it's in one of the Blackbird Designs booklets that's out or not, but this is called My Grandmother's Garden. Let me show you one more time. This is the picture inside the book. So I'll list that below as well. I don't think I've gotten any questions this week that haven't already been answered. I did share the piece that I forgot to share last weekend. So my plans this coming week is to put another square into Alphabet Zoo. I'd like to put another square into a sampler story, or at least get the rest of the border boxes completed. I will still continue to put one red thread into my Redwork sampler before bed every evening so that I can get that one worked up, especially knowing that I plan on joining the Blackbird Design Stitch Along next Saturday. It would be nice to have that one completed so that I don't have to carry that in to next week as well, and that'll keep me at the five pieces on the go as focus pieces. And focus pieces too, and what I mean by that is those are pieces, those are works in progress, things I've already started that I'm currently focusing on. I'm focusing on them because I want to finish them. So it's a focus for a finish. And that's what I mean by focus pieces. Now, sometimes they'll drop by the wayside. Earlier in the year, I was focusing on a whip by Lottie Dahl, which was Margaret Cottam. I will go back to her, but she is just not a focus at the moment. I wasn't enjoying her. Something else bright, shiny, and sparkly came along, and this magpie jumped after it. So I brought in other whips and put her back to the wayside. But as long as I'm not dropping a new start to the wayside, I'm still working on my whips, which is my goal for this year. Even if I don't finish them, I'm still working on them. I just don't want to take any new starts that I make this year into 2022. So far this year, I have made a good many finishes on my whips, and I'm very happy with that. I have made a good many fully finished pieces out of prior finishes, and that makes me happy. So I'm attaining my goals. I'm still on track for what I set for myself, and I'm going to have missteps along the way, but that's okay. It's goals I set for myself. It's not anything anybody's put before me and holding my hand to. And so this coming week, I'm going to do those things. I'm going to work on his Alphabet Zoo. I'm going to work on Sampler Story. I'm going to put in my one red thread. And I'm planning to make a start on May 1st on a Blackbird design, or either pick up a whip. And until then, hugs and stitches. See you all next weekend with Little Jonesy. Bye-bye.